What's up, average dad fans? Welcome back to another video, and it's another video on the Pixel Fold. However, it's the video you've been waiting for. The full, honest review of my experience with this first iteration of a foldable from Google. From hardware to software, the price, the battery life. I'm going to cover everything in depth after 2 weeks with this device. Let's go. So the first thing I want to talk about, and it's kind of in reverse order, I guess. A lot of people leave this till the end, but I want to talk about the price, the elephant in the room straight off the bat. So the price is expensive. The Google Pixel Fold is £1,749 or $1,800 or something else depending on where you are. I believe it's available in Japan, so some form of yen amount is attached to that. And that is an expensive price. But without seeming like I'm trying to justify the price, because I do believe that £1,400 to £1,500 is where this should be priced, we can't live life in a vacuum. What I mean by that is the Pixel Fold is priced at £1,749. I think we can all agree there's a premium to a foldable device. There's more parts, there's more screens, there's a lot of engineering that goes into it. I'm going to ask you, and don't Google this, how much do you think an iPhone 14 Pro Max is right now? Nearly 1 year old, by the way. £1,309 from the Apple website. Yes, just under £400 less than the Pixel Fold. That's a candy bar style phone. The Samsung S23 Ultra is £1,249. Now we're looking at the 256GB versions because this is a 256GB version. So when you factor that in, is the Pixel Fold stupidly priced? When you also factor in that Google threw in a £379 cellular Pixel Watch, the price is almost the same as an iPhone 14 Pro Max for the Pixel Fold and the Pixel Watch. Again, at no point in this video will I tell you to buy this device. That's your choice. All I'm here to do is lay out the facts, as I always do. A lot of comments talking about how expensive the phone is. It's the same price as the Z Fold 4. The Z Fold 4 you can get for around £1,400 or £1,500 just now. But again, it's a year old. So yes, the other thing is, if you are willing to pay the £1,749 for the Pixel Fold, good luck, because you've got about 8 weeks minimum to wait for that device to deliver. Crazy. And while I'm talking about the Pixel Fold being for sale, my previous video was meant to be positioned as don't buy the Pixel Fold on eBay or from me or from anyone else for over the odds. Just wait. The fact that people are paying £2,100, £2,200, it's just insane. It's a phone. It's going to be available much more often. You're just having to wait a bit just now because the hype is real at the moment. So yeah, don't go paying over the odds for it. Just wait. So now that we've got price out the way, let's talk design. The Pixel Fold is 12mm thick when folded. Not much more than an iPhone 14 Pro Max. The Pixel Fold is 5.8mm unfolded. One of the thinnest phones available in the world. Not the thinnest, I don't want to cover that again, but it's one of the thinnest. Along with those thin dimensions, you have extreme durability and protection from the Gorilla Glass Victus front and rear, the stainless steel rim and the aluminium hinge. One thing I will say, and I can't see any argument, the Pixel Fold has the best hinge mechanism of any device. The only phone that comes close is the Huawei Mate X3. Now, screen-wise, one of the biggest selling points of the Pixel Fold for me and why it rates so highly is this. The 5.8-inch outer screen, running at 120Hz, Full HD+, LTPO technology, 3.1 inches wide, which is super important because it's nearly an inch wider than the Z Fold 4. It's wider than any other foldable device on the market, and it helps considerably. A lot of people are going to give me shit for this, and go for it. The more comments you do, the better, because I always reply and it must help the algorithm. So I'm going to tell you, due to this outer screen, in my experience, I am unfolding this device maybe 10 times in a day. Maybe. Sometimes I don't even unfold the device. So hopefully that gets some people's blood boiling, and you're going to comment down below that that's not what a foldable, why buy a foldable? Again, I've explained this, you've missed the point. The whole point of a foldable is so it feels like a phone until you want to use the inside screen for multitasking or consuming content. And while we're discussing the inside screen, 7.6 inches, Full HD plus, slightly better resolution on the inside than the outside, 120Hz, 1500 nits peak brightness, fantastic. The only time I struggled with the inner screen was in Spain last week with direct sunlight. It was a bit of a struggle to see, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to keep it honest. I have seen brighter screens, however I haven't seen brighter screens other than the Vivo X Fold 2 from a foldable device. Now, other design perks in my opinion are the speakers. Please note that the speakers are on opposite sides of each end. Now that's important for when it's unfolded or turned in any orientation. A lot of effort and thought went into this because a lot of people would find it easier to keep it symmetrical, have the speaker here and down here, but no, they've kept it on different sides and angles on the device. Fair play, Google. That helps. And those speakers sound fantastic. Take a quick listen. I'll change up the song for this, by the way. I just really like the song and it shows off the speakers, but I know it's the same song I always use. But here, have a listen. Now finishing with the outside, we've got USB-C, not the quickest, 3.1, but it is USB-C, Apple, take note. And we've got a SIM ejection tool. That's essentially it from the outside, other than the cameras. Which leads me on to the cameras. So as far as the cameras go, I'm going to be the first one to raise my hand and say, on paper, the specs don't look good. To have some 10 megapixel cameras in there, an 8 megapixel camera, it isn't exactly enticing you to spend your hard-earned cash. However, looks can be deceiving. When it comes to smartphone photography, the key and the beauty is generally found post-processing. All those optimizations and computations that take place from when you snap a photo that you can see on your viewfinder or screen until you actually see it in your photo app, a lot of things happen and change. And Google have the magic fairy dust, the best magic fairy dust. Google are like the David Blaine of smartphone photography magic. They just do it right. And what do I mean by that? I mean they can turn 10 megapixel images into this. Whereas you've got other phones like the Samsung S23 Ultra, which absolutely do amazing photos, don't get me wrong, but it's a 200 megapixel camera. Are we saying that this is, you know, 10 times, 4 times better than the 48 megapixel camera on the Pixel Fold? No, it's not. It's all to do with post-processing, trust me. Now, actual specs of the camera, you have a 10 megapixel outer camera, you have an 8 megapixel inside camera on the bezel, and that's important because unlike the Samsung Z Fold 4, you can actually take decent enough photos with the inside camera, but more importantly, what I think most people will use the inside camera for is video calls. Zoom, Teams, WebEx, whatever you use, and they're all going to look and sound pretty good because the mics on here are plentiful. I think there's like 6 or 8 microphones on here, and they do a great job of cancelling out noise, wind, and focusing on your voice. So those are the selfie cameras, if you like, but you can also use the rear cameras as a selfie because it's a foldable device. Simply go into your camera app, hit this button, and there you go. You have the rear cameras as your selfie. So you're now getting 48 megapixel selfie photos from the rear cameras. And when we're talking video, another benefit of the Pixel that most Chinese smartphones don't do is 4K on the selfie camera, 4K on all lenses. Now it's a 48 megapixel wide, a 10 megapixel ultra wide, and a 10 megapixel 5x periscope zoom lens. You can see the photos and videos that I'm putting up while I'm speaking. Look, again, I'm not here to tell you to buy this device. All I'm showing at this point is that if you did buy the device, you can absolutely 100% use this as your camera as well as your phone, in my opinion. Well, it's not just my opinion. I do use this as my camera. I no longer have a mirrorless or DSLR camera. There's no point nowadays. Smartphone photography has come on leaps and bounds. Now, before I talk about the next segment, which is battery, I just want to shout out my first ever member. Thank you. Thank you for becoming a Tech Addict member. You are my first member, hopefully my first of many. So I just wanted to shout you out. I also wanted to take this time to say that I've had a thought and I genuinely just want to give as much as I can. So what I've started to do, on the first of every month, I will give away a £20 Amazon gift code or voucher, but easier just to text your code over Instagram or text message. I'll send you an Amazon £20 code or $20 code every month. I'll pick a member on the first of every month to get this code. It'll be randomly selected. So if you sign up to any of the membership tiers, as well as the perks you're already getting for becoming a member, you're also going to have the chance to win a £20 or $20 Amazon gift voucher. One thing I will say as well, that's starting the 1st of August. So if I've only got one member, you can bet you're going to get the Amazon gift code. So yeah, the more members, obviously the less chance. But right now, for the foreseeable, I can't see me getting many members. So yeah, £20 Amazon gift voucher coming your way. Also, the meetup, as mentioned, it'll be March next year. So for anybody that signs up to the top tier membership, you are going to meet me at a location to be decided depending on where my members are. And we'll have a good time. We'll have a good laugh. But thank you for signing up to be a member. Thank you for keeping on watching this video, all my content, liking, subscribing. It's yeah, it's much appreciated for such a small Scottish honest channel. Let's go on with the video. So as mentioned, this section will be covering battery. Now, again, a lot of comments from my previous videos. Some people live life in a vacuum, as I mentioned about the price of the Pixel Fold. They also live in a vacuum when it comes to battery life. Look, the Pixel Fold charges at 30 watts wired. I've seen people say, no, it's 21 watts. I get 30 watts because that's what Google say, and that's what I've been getting. I'm getting 30 watts. I'm charging my device from dead to full in about an hour and 15 minutes. So it's hardly the end of the world. Now the wireless charging at 7.5 watts could absolutely be better, but I don't charge my phone wirelessly. I use wired, and I only have to do it once a day. So I spend that time charging at night time, probably just before I fall asleep. It's charged 100%, I'll unplug it, I'll wake up in the morning, it's got 97%. Ideal. Now, from that time in the morning when it's off the plug, right through till I go to bed at 10 or 11 p.m, I'm ending each day with 20 to 30, sometimes 40% battery depending on usage. I have no complaints about battery life. Would I like to see faster charging? Okay, yeah. Would I like 2 full day battery life? Yeah. But is it a deal breaker? No. And as I mentioned, living life in a vacuum, you ain't getting 2 days out your iPhone 14 Pro Max. You're also not getting more than, I believe it's 27 watts charging from an iPhone 14 Pro Max. So all this hate towards Google and Pixel, again, I don't have a dog in this fight. Just do better. I think Samsung charge at 45 watts. So it's hardly fast charging when you look at the likes of Vivos and Oppos and OnePluses of the world. So just calm down. I understand we'd all like 200 watt charging and my phone to charge and not to 100 by the time I've taken a shit. Great, but it doesn't. It's not the end of the world. So before I get to my summary, the last thing I want to talk about is kind of encapsulates everything, software and internals, chipset, all that good stuff. And it is exactly that. It's software and internals. Software wise, obviously it's stock Google, stock Android, Android 13 at the moment, Android 14 coming hopefully very soon, like I expect it any day now. Comment down below if you know the exact release date for the Pixel Folds getting Android 14, because I think that update will bring with it some app optimization that is lacking. You'll know already because I will not be the first Pixel Fold review or video you watch. Some apps, such as Twitter and Instagram on the inside screen, aren't well optimized. You can turn the phone portrait orientation and that certainly helps. But for apps like Twitter, it would be good to have, like, you know, a little menu bar on the left and then your feed scrolling in the middle, like you do on all Google apps like Google Calendar, Gmail, YouTube. Everything just works really good in the Pixel Fold on either screen. But it's a first gen device, folks. Again, calm down. For a first gen device, this is doing incredibly well software wise. Remember the Z Fold 1. Heck, the Z Fold 2, probably even worse. Yeah, you see my point. Now also, multitasking has been a breeze, from productivity to consuming content to social media. Being able to multitask on the inside screen makes life a lot easier. And that's when, for everybody that's going mad, that's when I open my device, when I really need to open at one time. For example, I've recently downloaded the Craft app, which is where I now script my videos, so I can have the video script on one side and photos on the other, just as reference points or specs on one side. I do work like Outlook and Microsoft Teams, split screen. I can have Apple Music and YouTube, and the possibilities are endless. Multitasking just works. Now, elephant in the room here, a lot of people are talking about it, and again, not a deal breaker for me, but would have liked to seen a more recent chip? Yes. It's the SoC, the Tensor G2 chip, or the Exynos, whatever you want to call it, but Google call it the Tensor G2. It's not Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 or 8 Gen 2 standards, but for me, and I would argue 99.999% of these tech reviewers, my viewers, it's going to do everything you want and have no issues coping with it. The power is fine. The graphics card is perfect. I don't game often, if at all, but when I have loaded up some random Sonic the Hedgehog game, looked good to me. Again, I ain't no Genshin Impact fan. I couldn't even tell you what that is, but a lot of people talk about it. So yeah, if the frame rate drops on that, I apologise. I would suggest to you that if you're a hardcore gamer, the Pixel Fold isn't for you. Maybe the ROG phone is, or the Black Magic, or is it Red Magic? Black Magic, that's a chocolate. The Red Magic, yeah. So internals and software have worked absolutely great for me. I've done previous videos talking about the software and multitasking. Yeah. So we've made it to the end of the video. All that's left to be done is to summarise my experience with the Google Pixel Fold. Not just for a first gen device, this could be the third or fourth iteration. Google have smashed it. I have more confidence that Apple will release one, that other manufacturers such as Samsung will step up their game now. The issue we've had with Samsung is there's no point. Why would they spend money creating a whole new screen size, a whole new hinge and crease mechanism when they don't need to? Because the only globally released foldable is the Z Fold. Well, now that Pixel are releasing this phone in, okay, not every country yet, but a lot of countries, and those countries are expanding and more are getting dropped, there's now competition. And as a tech fan, and as you watching my video as tech fans, that is only a good thing. This will shake up the foldable phone industry. And the fact that there's a 2-month waiting list shows that Google are selling more than even they expected. So there's a market for it. Foldable phones are no longer a gimmick. Yes, you could argue, and as my dad would always argue, they are gimmicks, but not now. Not now with the functionality, not now with the flagship cameras. Yes, spec-wise I know, but I've talked about that. But for me, the build quality, the durability, the design, the software, everything's coming together to hopefully a crescendo in 2 or 3 years when Apple join the party and the price comes down, hopefully. Yeah. The Pixel Fold has given me hope for the foldable market, and I love it. And it's going nowhere, so no, I'm not selling it. No, I'm not giving it away. Although, maybe that would be a good member giveaway. One day. Listen, until next time, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for the support. I'm going to be back very soon with a video on another product, because you're probably sick of seeing my face talk about the Pixel Fold. So until then,